Good day everyone, this is Storming Thunderhead and I wish you all pleasant weather and smooth flying. Today I am doing a tutorial video and I have not done one of these before, so please give me some grace. But today's topic will be how to outturn a 109 in the yak. So this is how the video will be done. In the first part I'll explain why I decided to do this video. And in the second part, I will be showing a fight I had on the Finnish Virtual Pilot server in the Yak-7B against a 109Z2. The third part will be a conclusion and a summary of how to outturn the 109 in the Yak. So, why have I decided to make this video? Well, it's because I've noticed a lot of people have been slightly disappointed when they were outturned by a 109 when they were flying a yak. And I've also noticed a lot of people have started to say that the yak is not very maneuverable and the 109 outturns it, outclimbs it, outaccelerates it, and pretty much just making the 109 sound like an unbeatable plane, making it sound like such an overpowered, lethal plane. But this video is going to show you that the 109 is not as good as many people make it out to be. Particularly in turn fighting, the 109 does not turn as well as the yak does. So by the end of this video, I hope to give you some pointers and some tactics to use if you ever find yourself in a turn fight with a 109 in a yak. So in this clip, I was flying a Yak-7B on the Finnish Virtual Pilots. I'd already used up some ammunition on previous enemies, and that will play a bit into the fight. But at the start of the fight, I was flying over our rear depot, and the opponent in this fight was a 109Z2, who started with an energy advantage, and was actually attacking me in the beginning. So we'll take a look at that now. So already I'm making a mistake here. I've got my head buried down the scoreboard. I was quite curious to see how many deaths our side was accumulating, and the number of kills that the German side was accumulating. It was plane set 3, so it is a bit more understandable, but that does mean my situational awareness was quite low.
Anybody here flying a Spitfire?
Negative. And when AMP called out asking if anyone was flying a Spitfire, that caused me to look up and look back and check my 6, and that's when I saw I had flak behind me. Now, the flak in Finnish Virtual Pilots is quite inaccurate. So when I saw the flak that far away, I knew that the enemy was actually quite close to me. So I know I have to go defensive here. However, I can't see the enemy. So what I do instead is that I look over to the right, off to the right side of my plane, checking my 6, and then I roll a little bit to the right. Doing that gives me a much better view of my 6 o'clock position, and I can see any enemy sneaking up on me.
Spitfire in front of me.
And so enough, I do indeed have a 109 coming in on my 6. So because I have rolled so much to the right already, I'm going to enter a hard right hand turn to try and see if I can force this guy into a high yo-yo, which will give me more time and give me more options, and if he sticks with me, it'll be a lot easier for me to force an overshoot. So as you can see, he does stick with me in the right hand turn. He is firing his guns, but his shots are just falling short. Then I bring it into the roll to try and force the overshoot, and I'm quite successful in doing so, but unfortunately at this point in time, he's got a lot more energy than me. A ton of energy there. Zooming straight back up, and I'm also getting close to the blackout here. I'm currently getting attacked off the rear depot. So right now what I do, I position him to my 6 o'clock, and I try and create as much distance between me and him as possible, and that will take him longer to catch up to me, and that will also equalize the energy states a bit better. So once again, he's coming in on my 6 o'clock. I'm going to switch things up a bit here. I'm going to roll originally to the right, make it look like I'm going to enter a right hand turn, but then I'm going to snap it around and actually enter a left hand turn. So you can see here I do that left hand turn. He follows a little bit, but then he immediately goes into the high yo-yo here. So at this point, I know he is going to defeat me if I keep turning. So I'm going to have to change my strategy a bit here. If I just keep doing these break turns into him, he is going to be able to just keep doing these high yo-yos, and then he'll eventually defeat me, get me to a point where I have no more energy to use, and then he can just boom and zoom me with no danger to himself. And once again, the 109 has dived in onto my 6 o'clock. But this time I'm not going to do a break turn. Instead, I'm going to change my maneuvering to make it look more enticing, make it look like he can take a shot without losing too much energy, but then I'm going to trap him in that thinking. So instead of doing a break turn, what I'm going to do is try and do a series of rolling maneuvers. I'm going to roll to the right and keep rolling in that direction, making it tighter as I go. At the same time, I'm going to point my nose downhill so we will both be accelerating, so that he'll be accelerating too much to stay behind me, but then once I've forced the overshoot, I'll still be accelerating and I'll be able to keep up with him after the overshoot. So as you can see, I'm starting the rolling maneuver, and he is trying to keep up with me. Like I said, I want to make this look enticing. Unfortunately, I stole the right wing, but I just instantly release the back pressure on my stick and just keep rolling in that direction, recover it, and then I'm able to bring my nose around. And right now I'm behind his 3-9 line. And so begins the turn fight. Now before we progress further into the video, I just want to stop here and inform you of the two types of turn fighting. The one circle turn fight and the two circle turn fight. Now if you want to know what one circle and two circle refer to, please watch the video that I will leave a link to in the description. It is a video that Requiem did, and it's a very good video explaining the two types of turn fighting. But basically, in a one circle turn fight, turn radius wins the fight, and in a two circle fight, turn rate wins the fight. In a one circle fight, the plane with a smaller turn radius wins the fight, whereas in the two circle, the plane with a higher turn rate wins the fight. And this is where most people make a mistake, is that when they're flying a yak and they get into a maneuvering fight to the 109, they always try and bring it into the one circle fight, where turn radius wins the fight. However, the 109 performs better in a one circle fight because it has slats out on the wings, which help prevent it from stalling at least initially, and it also gets a lot of airflow going over its control surfaces in the back. So the 109 has really good nose authority at low speed, it's stable, it doesn't easily stall a wing, and therefore it is able to change direction quickly. The yak, however, does not perform quite so well in a one circle fight because it doesn't have a very powerful engine to begin with, and also the propeller arc is quite small, and it doesn't generate a lot of airflow over the control surfaces in the back. Also, the yak doesn't have slats in the wings, so when at slow speeds and pulling high AOA, the yak has a tendency to suddenly drop a wing. Now in a two circle fight, the 109 actually is at a disadvantage because the slats in the wings come out at slower speeds, slowing it down even more, and while it prevents the wings from stalling initially, it also creates drag, and eventually the 109 will lose too much speed to keep up a good turn rate. Also, the 109 swing is just not well designed for a two-circle turn fight. The yak, on the other hand, is much better suited for a two-circle fight, is able to keep its speed a lot better in a constant turn, and also the yak has a better wing for that. Whereas the yak cannot pull as much AOA as the 109 can, in a turn rate fight, the yak holds the cards. So from this point on, I'm going to be focusing on keeping a high turn rate, maintaining a high turn rate So eventually I will be able to get my nose onto the 109 and get a shot. So as you can see, he's trying to go vertical again. At this point in time, I feel like I have enough energy to pull for a shot here. And if I hadn't used up my ammunition previously, I would have been a lot more comfortable just taking a longer burst at him with a much higher chance of hitting, and I probably could have ended this fight right here. But like I said, I didn't know how much ammunition I had. I knew I was low on ammunition, and I didn't want to use it all up. At this point, the 109 has stopped just pulling in a loop. He's actually started to go into a spiral climb, and he is winning. If I keep pointing my nose at him, I'm going to stall, and then he'll be able to hammerhead over on me and shoot me down. So what I do here is I lower my nose and just trying to stay below him and behind his 3-9 line. If I can stay behind his 3-9 line, there's virtually no way he can get his nose on me. So, as you can see, I'm lowering my nose, keeping my speed up, but staying behind his 3-9 line. And now he starts to turn very hard to the left, and notice how I'm not trying to point my nose at him. I'm keeping my nose pointed at the horizon while keeping a high turn rate. And even though initially he was able to turn more degrees than I was able to, in a matter of time I was able to point my nose straight at him again. And the fact of the matter is, he's losing his advantage here. He's losing his speed advantage, he's losing his altitude advantage, and all I'm doing is I'm just keeping my nose pointed at the horizon, maintaining a high turn rate, and he just cannot outturn me at this point. Right now he's just getting too slow to keep up the turn, and those slats are not helping. Although they help with the 1 circle, they're not going to help with the 2 circle. And here he's trying to go up again, but then the friendly P-39 came in and put a few 50 cals into him. Then I come in, get a good burst into his engine, and that sets him on fire. So as you could see at the end there, he was just too slow to keep up the turn. And the Yak really does defeat the 109 in a turn rate fight, and also this was done at an energy disadvantage. So to sum it all up, to be able to outturn the 109 in the Yak, you don't want to be thinking about getting your nose pointing at the 109, but rather you want to be focusing on maintaining as high of a turn rate as you possibly can. And a sign to look for to judge whether you are outturning the 109 is by taking a look at his position on the canopy. If he is remaining rather stationary on your canopy and is moving towards your gun sight, then you are maintaining a higher turn rate than the 109. And if he is moving more aft towards your tail on the canopy, then he is achieving a higher turn rate than you. And if you watch this fight again, you will notice that he will be moving aft on the canopy and then forward towards the gun sight, aft on the canopy again and then towards the gun sight. But each time he was doing that, he was moving less towards the tail and more towards the gun sight. That was a sure sign that I was winning. And so again, you don't want to be getting into a 1 circle fight with the 109. You can win in a 1 circle, but it's a lot more difficult. So if you can, try and keep it a 2 circle fight.
Anybody here flying a Spitfire?
Negative.
Spitfire in front of me.
I'm currently getting attacked off the rear depot. Getting attacked by 109. I could use some help here over at the rear depot.
Well, I'm leaving, so have a nice afternoon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh, 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 oh. That got him. I got my 109.